Good morning, friends. In this class on C programming, I am going to talk about data type and minimum and maximum values for these data types. As per the agenda, I am going to cover the minimum and maximum values, and then I am going to talk about easy ways to calculate these values of these data types. And I am going to talk about primarily fundamental data types like character, short, integer, and long. Once we know how to calculate the values, we should also talk about how do we remember these values in an easy way. Now, the next point is very important. What you will see here, we will cover about pitfalls of not knowing these values. There are a lot of programming situations where people, when they start coding, they will have issues. So there are two tests that I have written for you, as well as we'll do a live demo code. And then at the end, I'm also going to talk about efficient coding strategy for professional software development. And I'm going to use this special class on min-max value. So I have done one more video very recently, which I have already uploaded in my YouTube channel. There, some of you might have seen this video. I have included that video in this particular presentation because this is the most logical class for that topic in terms of min-max values. So let's get started one by one. So you might have already seen in my previous slides that we have seen what are the minimum and maximum values for these data types. Generally, the data types have either a signed representation or an unsigned representation. So depending on those representations, the value changes. And as you might have seen this, you can see that whenever you have a character or a signed character, the value ranges between these two. And then we have an unsigned character, the value ranges between these two. Similarly, for the next higher up data type, which is basically a short, so you will have a short integer or a signed short with the same as these values versus an unsigned value. You will also see integer values for signed versus unsigned, and then long values for signed versus unsigned. So let's come into the class and try to arrive at some methods to calculate these values. Okay, so let's go to the Scratchpad and then we will try to understand them with a proper explanation. So let's look into first the character. So what is the easier way in which we can calculate it? The only way we need to remember is what is the size of data type. Okay, so once we know the size of the data type, so what it basically means is size of character. So character is 1 byte. So if you have a 1 byte of data, how much of information we can store? We can store 1 into 8 bits, right? So it boils down to the size of the character, which means the number of bytes into 8 bits. So when you really see this, we are looking at 8 bits of information. Same thing when we talk about slightly higher data type, which is short. So some of you already know that short has 2 bytes and then we have 8 bits of information. So basically it's a 16 bits of information, right? As you move along for other data types, for example, integer, we have 4 bytes and then we have 8 bits of information. Having known this much of data, now what we can think is what is the maximum value that we can really store in these data types. Okay, so think about a short data type. Short data type has essentially 8 bits of information, you can see here. Okay, so how much we can do? In general, we use an exponent notation, right? So we have 2 to the power 8, which is nothing but 256. So we can have a maximum 256 data that can be stored in an 8-bit entity, right? So it is 2 to the power 8. Now don't assume that we can store a hard code value of 256. No, that is not possible. 256 is basically a range of values. So some of you know that it starts from 0. When all the bits are 0, then the value is 0. So it is 255 in reality. So don't think we can store 256 value in an 8-bit. We can have up to 255 on terms of absolute value. However, This is good when we are talking about a memory space where you are going to have only the data. But in terms of programming, when you talk about programming, data has additional properties. It is a signed data versus an unsigned data. So when you talk about unsigned data, which means all the 8 bits for character is used, 8 bits is used for storing the value or the data, right? So when you say unsigned entities, we are utilizing all the 8 bits. So which means that we can have a value which is 255, what we saw just now. So we can have a value which is 255 as the maximum value. And similarly, we can have a value which is 0 as a minimum value, right? So 0 is basically a minimum value. So these are the values, that you can see as a range for an unsigned character. The moment we think about signed, so we have an additional qualification on the data that the data is signed. So that signed information also gets stored in the same 8 bit, right? So when you talk about signed character, signed char, so 8 bits are the total bits we have, out of which 1 bit is for sign, right? So we store and we generally call it most significant bit in our programming practices. Now how much bits are remaining? So 1 bit is for MSB. So we are having only 7 bits of information, right? So we can store maximum of 7 bit value. So which is technically equivalent to generally, right? When you say 7 bit, so we are looking at 2 to the power 7. So when you think about 1 bit for sign, the remaining is 2 to the power 7, which is nothing but a total value that we can store is 128. 2 to the power 7 is 128, right? Okay. Now the same interpretation follows. So when you talk about a signed value where we can store, so we can store 128, but in reality 128 cannot be the value. So 128 are the total range of values. So it starts from 0 and goes all the way up to 127, right? So that's what it is. So when you talk about character data type, which is a signed now, so we are talking about a positive value 0 to 127, right? This is true when the signed representation says that it is a positive number. But what if it is a negative number? Negative number, the formula, when you have a negative number, right? When you have a negative character or say negative number character data type. So in MSB, we generally store the signed bit as 1, as the value is 1, as you all know. But what about the remaining 7 bits? The remaining 7 bits really play the role of storing a value. Okay. Since the 0 is covered under the positive sign direction, so we still have 2 to the power 7. When you talk about 7 bits, we have 2 to the power 7. And this 2 to the power 7 again represents totally 128 values, right? Since 0 is already taken care, stored in a positive sign direction. So what we can have here is we can have exactly 128 values. And then that 128 generally starts with -1 and goes all the way up to -128. Okay. So in summary, how are we calculating the value? We are calculating the value by understanding whether the data type is either a signed or an unsigned value. If it is an unsigned value, the job is easy because we can have a range which is between 0 to 255. However, if it is a signed value, then we have assigning, a 1 bit on the byte as a sign. So if it is a positive value, then it's 0 to 127. Remember, the range is still 128. If it is a negative number, the range is 128 still, but it starts from -1 to -128, right? So this is one, explanation which allows us to understand how we can arrive at these values. What's the next step? The goal was how to calculate. So calculation is what I have shown you. Now this is easy to calculate when you think about a 8-bit entity. But when you talk about higher values like short and integer, it's very difficult for us to remember and calculate these values. Okay. So think about we have to calculate for say integer as an example. Okay. Let's take short, right? Short is sometimes easy. So what does it mean? So short is basically 16 bits of information, as you can see here. So when you calculate for short, we are really looking at 2 raised to the power 16. Okay. So 2 raised to the power 16 basically is some of you might know 65536. Right? That's the value. Now, yeah, it's very difficult to remember these values actually in decimal notations, right? We are all talking about decimal numbers. So we have to think about the general formula by which we can calculate the value, having looked into, the calculation for this, right? So what could be a general formula? The general formula is when you look into an signed versus unsigned, right? So let's start the easier one. When you talk about unsigned numbers, when you talk about unsigned number, we utilize all the bits. So like 16 bits are utilized, as you know. When you have a signed number, then you use 15 bits to store the data, right? So now we'll arrive at one formula to calculate. These values. So let's look into the formula. So when you talk about unsigned, right, we can easily deduce that it is 2 to the power. So we are doing a power notation, okay? And then what's the value? We can say size of the data type. Size of the data type in terms of bytes multiply by 8. 8 is basically number of bits per byte. Once you do this much, you pretty much know the answer. That is for unsigned, right? Now this is what we will get it. So as you know that we have a short 2 bytes, so this will be 2 to the power 16. So for a short it is 2 to the power 16. So this is the range. And when you think in terms of formula, so let me just now write the formula for unsigned short. So we'll say unsigned short data type. So 2 raised to the power 16. So that's the range. So remember, I'm just writing the range. Okay, that's the range in terms of total values. Now what is the minimum value? Minimum value is 0. So it always starts with 0, and then it is 2 to the power 16 minus 1. So that's how you have to remember. Okay, so minus 1 is important for you to arrive at the max. This is the max value. That's minus 1. Think about integer. So when you say unsigned integer, right? So integer is based on this formula now. Size of the data. The size of the data type is 4 bytes into 8. So 32. 4 into 8, 32. So we are straight away looking at 2 to the power 32. Okay. Now what is this? This is the range of values, right? When you say the range of values, we always starts with 0. So it is 0 to, you can straight away say 2 to the power 32. And then you minus 1 for it, for that range, because we started with 0. So far so good. This is what you know. So you can know that this is the minimum value and this is the maximum value for an unsigned data type. Okay. How do you arrive at the values for signed data type, right? So let's look into the value for a signed data type in the Scratchpad. Okay. Signed data type has, as you know, 15 bits of representation. So the formula changes little bit. So when you're talking about signed short. So when you say signed short, we are really looking at the same ways. Okay. So what we did in the previous case, we had 2 to the power 15 now. Right. So we can have 2 to the power 15 as a range for signed values. Okay. Now we have to again see what could be the max and what could be the min. Okay, so consider that we are looking at a positive number. Okay, so signed short where the short is positive. So let's say it's a positive number, positive side. Okay, so signed positive number. So straight away 2 to the power 15 is the full range of value. So it's easy to say, we can say it starts from 0 because we are saying positive side, right? And then we can say 2 to the power 15 and at last minus 1 because the first value is 0, as you know, right? So this is what is a positive number range for a signed positive. What about negative now? When you talk about negative number, we have to just remember that, we are on a negative direction. So range is still going to be the same because we know there is a sign bit. So range is going to be the same, right? And what would be the range here? So the general formula for this is 2 to the power. So on the negative direction now, we are talking about negative direction, and then it is a negative. So put a negative number, which starts with a minus of this, and then it goes all the way up to -1. Okay, so we are talking about negative numbers. Okay, so when you talk about negative numbers, this is the range. So it starts with -1 on the number line and goes all the way in a lower and lower and lower values on the number line. Okay, and goes to negative 2 to the power 15, right? On the positive sides, on the number line, it is 0 and then goes 2 to the power 15 -1. So what could be a final general formula? The general formula in terms of n, right? So in terms of n, what could be a general formula? The general formula for a unsigned value is 2 to the power n. What is n here? N represents the total number of bits for that particular data type. 2 to the power n is the total range. So for a signed value, for an unsigned value, you start with 0 and then you can go all the way up to 2 to the power n minus 1. So this is the general formula, the way we are seeing it here. Okay. What about the signed values? So we can have a negative lowest, right, basically. So on the negative direction, you can always say 2 to the power n minus 1. Why n minus 1? Because 1 bit is consumed for sign. Goes all the way up to 0. And then on the positive side, you simply say 2 to the power. Again n minus 1 because 1 bit is for sign. And then a minus 1 because the range starts from 0. So let's substitute the values in terms of some of these data types on this formula that we have arrived at. With this, we will have a much more clarity about how to calculate the values in terms of min and max for these data types. So let's get started. We will talk about first character. So let's talk about character data type. So character data type, what the range? On the unsigned, we start with 0, as you know. So 0 is 0 and then it is 2 to the power 8 minus 1, right? So we go up to 2 to the power 8. 2 to the power 8 and then minus 1. So how much is that value? That value is 2 to the power is 256 minus 1. So finally you have 255. That's for unsigned character data type. So what about signed entity? So as per the formula, on a negative direction, it is 2 to the power 8 minus 1. So 2 to the power 7. That's on the negative direction. So it is minus 2 to the power 7. And how much is that? That value is 128. So essentially you are having a minus 128 is on the minimum side. And then this value goes all the way up to 0. And then after that it goes to a new value, which is 2 to the power 8 minus 1, which is 7. So 2 to the power 7 minus 1. So it is technically 128 minus 1, right? So all of you know that this value is nothing but a 127, more specifically on the positive side, right? So what the range you are seeing for this now? The range you are seeing is minus 128 to positive side 127, right? That's the range basically. The same thing can be applied to a short data type, to integer, and a long data type. So with that, I am sure that you got a good perspective about how to really calculate the min and max values for signed and unsigned data type. So let's move into the class in terms of the next topic in terms of calculating these values. Okay, so we can see here the value that you arrived at is what is written here. Same thing can be applied. Now, having calculated this, what is the easy way? What is the easy way to remember the values, right? See, now this is very tricky because many of us are used to reading numbers in terms of human readable format. So human readable format is decimal number system, right? So when you talk about how to remember these, right? How to remember the min and max. Human beings can understand decimal, they can read it, they can write it, and they can interpret it very fast because that's what we always do. So we know decimal number systems, right? But when you talk about decimal number, yes, we can remember 256 or 255 or 127 or say minus 128 as min max, okay? But when you talk about large entities like integer 2 to the power 32 minus 1, right? 2 to the power 31. So those are very large values. How do we remember them? Really speaking, we should not by heart them. We should not remember them in terms of decimal because they are very large numbers. Think about a long, right? Integer. Think about a long. We cannot remember long because long is a very high value. When you think about unsigned long, we are really looking at 2 to the power 64 minus 1, which is 63. Right? So this is the max possible value that you see for a unsigned long. So how do we remember? The best way to remember these numbers are not in terms of decimal, but in terms of hexadecimal representation. I repeat, it is not decimal. You should always remember a hexadecimal representations. Why? Because computer understands binary numbers. Binary numbers can be easily written in terms of hexadecimal numbers. Okay, so always make sure that you understand hexadecimal number, and those representations are very easy to calculate and remember. So quickly look into 1 byte entity. When you talk about 1 byte entity, what does it mean? It's basically a 1 byte which is 8 bit. In terms of memory representations, if all the bits are zeros, then we say it's a hexadecimal 00 as two different nibbles. A 4 bit is a nibble here, right? Okay. So let's elaborate it more. So when you talk about 1 byte is 8 bits of information, right? If it is 8 bits of information, we are looking at like this. So they are totally 8 bits and all the bits are 0 in this example. When you talk about the same thing in terms of 8 bits, but all the bits are say 111 and then 11. These are the maximum possible values. So between these two values, what do we do? So when you want to write in hexadecimal, we'll say it's hexadecimal 0. I'm using the prefix 0x to represent hexadecimal. Okay. So hexadecimal 0 or hexadecimal 00. Some of you already know how to convert this binary number into hexadecimal. That is the bare minimum requirement for a computer programmer. Okay. So in hexadecimal representation, these 4 ones are represented as F and these 4 ones are represented as F. So now essentially what we are looking at a number which is 0 to FF on a 1 byte entity, right? So think about 1 byte entity. So we talked about character. What is the minimum maximum possible value for a character data type? That is what we have to think about, isn't it? Now this what I have calculated is essentially I am treating all the bits as a data. So this is like an unsigned entity, right? So when you talk about an unsigned entity or unsigned character, unsigned character, we are really looking at hexadecimal 00 all the way up to hexadecimal FF. So this is the range of values 0 to 255, and we can easily remember it, and that's the best way. A good programmer, an embedded programmer, a systems programmer, they just remember these values. We never remember the decimal representations. Okay, that's never needed also. Even the debuggers always display the data, and they prefer to display the data always in terms of hexadecimal numbers. Okay, basically. All right. So how do we take this further down and try to arrive at a value which is a signed value? right? So how do we do a signed value? So let's take this and then we will arrive at our signed representations for the same thing. Remember, this is what I told you, this is a unsigned. So let's change it. So now what we are doing is we are treating this as a sign. If this is a sign, this MSB is a sign, so that's okay. This number is still 0 0 because we are all zeros. But since this is represented like a sign, so this cannot be F. I repeat, this cannot be F. Okay, so what it could be? So in the world of signed representations, right? In the world of signed representations, so we are saying 1 followed by 3 ones followed by the 4 ones, right? So I've just separated it out for our calculation purpose. I repeat, I'm separating only for the calculation. So look into only this number. So this number is essentially 7, right? So when you're looking at 7, this number is 7 and this is F. So we are looking at F now, okay? So in the world of signed representations, what you really see is you see a range, you see a range which is nothing but 0 to 7F, right? So this is the maximum possible value that you see in this case, right? So the range is like this. Now what's a 7F in decimal? So if I have to write it further, right? So the minimum, as you know, is basically a 0 and the max is 7F. 7F in decimal is 127. So we are looking into a signed representations in this point of time. Okay. Now when I'm looking at signed representations, I'm just ignoring this bit. Okay. So this bit is not really 1. I'm just showing it. It can be 0. It can be 1. Okay. So when you talk about the value 127, this is not 1 because this is a positive number. In such cases, this will become 0. So I repeat, this is what I am representing here, 7F. Okay, so 7F is 127, and then when you say max on the positive direction, if it is 0, positive direction, it is 127. Some of you might still get confused sometimes, right? And you say, what about this one? If it is 1, then we are going to write it as FF. Yeah, this is 100% true because in memory, whatever is stored in the 8-bit position, that's what is the value. Now, since this is 1, we know that it is a negative number, and in my previous classes, I have already explained, in much more detail. When you look into all ones like this or FF, right, that value is basically a -1. Okay, so this value is basically a -1, right? This value is a -1. So to give little more clarity on this, right, to give little more clarity on this value, so let's keep it like this. We'll just take this out. Okay, so we'll take this out. I'll give you more clarity. So when you talk about signed representations, right, think like this is a sign and these 7 positions. So I will just have only two values represented here. I'm writing it once again, 1 and followed by zeros, right? Now what does it mean? So to me, when you look at this, what does it mean? It is basically hexadecimal 80, right? So we think about it. What is this number? This number is FF, and this number is 8, and this is 0, right? So how do we treat these numbers? This is the largest signed character representation, and this is the smallest signed char. Now why I am saying largest, smallest? For the time being, if you simply ignore, this sign, let's look into this. These are all ones. So what do we say? Yeah, this is the largest number. All ones means largest numbers. All zeros means the smallest number. So when you talk about 1, ignore this 1 and see. So this is largest and this is smallest. Now what is on the number line? So let's look into this. What is the absolute value of this? The absolute value of this is basically -1. Okay. And what is the absolute value of this? The absolute value of this is -128, right? Because this is a sign on a negative direction and all are zeros, so this is basically -128. Okay. Now when you think about the range of values for a character, what you are seeing here is -128, which is the smallest signed number for character, and then we have a largest sign. What is the sign number? -1. -1 is the largest sign on the negative direction, right? This is the largest sign on the negative direction, and this is the smallest sign on the negative direction. Now this is only I'm talking about, a signed value here in terms of sign. Okay, but when you talk about the full range of these, the full range of these will have a coverage, right? And then that coverage will be 0. If it is 0, just we repeat 111 111 like the previous case, and then we have another one, we call it 0, 3 zeros, sorry about that. So 1 2 3 3 zeros, and like this. Okay, so what we are seeing is we see the sign bit as 1 here, right? So what we are seeing is, what we are seeing is we are seeing the sign bit as 0 here. So when you say 0, it's a positive number, as all of you know, and when you represent it, it is essentially hexadecimal 7 and F. When you represent this is essentially hexadecimal 0 0 0, right? Now what is this? This is the largest positive number in the signed world for character, right? So this is largest positive number because this is 0, it's a positive number. So so we can write it, it's a largest positive on the positive direction, right? Largest positive in terms of card, which is nothing but, if you evaluate it, right, it is basically a value 127. Similarly, this is the smallest, right, on the positive direction. When I'm saying positive, I know it's a 0 actually, okay, but just don't worry about that what it is, but it's our understanding that matters, right? So what we are now looking into, so this is a signed representation for a negative number, and this is a positive number. So what you are essentially seeing here is -1 -128 so if you see entire thing, what is the largest positive value or the largest value for the signed? 127. What the smallest is -128. So this is another way to arrive at and understand things. So now this is a much more detailed explanation I have given. This may not be needed. What you need to know is basically unsigned character is like this, and then if I have to just convert it into a signed value towards the bottom, towards the end of this presentation, right? So what do you see? This is not this. This is what we arrived. So this value is basically on the negative direction, right? So -128 all the way up to 127, right? So what do I write? Yeah, this is the representation. Remember, sorry, what I meant to say is this is not unsigned, this is signed, right? Okay, yeah. So this is signed. When it says signed representation, hexa 80 is the lowest possible value, and then 7F, right? 7F. So this is the range of value that you will see in terms of negative to positive direction. So this can easily be extrapolated, when you start working on, your programming for larger data types, isn't it? This is only for a 1 byte. You can always do it for a 2 byte or a 4 byte entity. Okay. So when you think about some higher numbers like 4 byte entity, okay, when you talk about integer is 4 byte, as all of you know, okay. So lowest is always, as you all know, 0 0, then 0 0 0 0. So 4 bytes I have writing, all 0 0, and this is FF like this. That's it. So you can hard code it because now you know what the value is, isn't it? So this is the range. What about this? So yeah, you can extrapolate the same concept here, right? So you can extrapolate the same concept here. So when you say signed integer, right? So what's the value on the signed integer? Yeah, so we know on the direction wise now basically at zeros 1 2 3. So this is the on the minimum side. FF, so all FF. So you can always remember in this style what the min and max values for these data types, okay? And this is the way to remember. We are not supposed to remember for a decimal representation. I hope this clarifies, some of our, understanding. And this is very important because if you don't know this, in a world of system programming or embedded programming, we have situations where we have bugs. And debuggability also becomes a problem if you don't understand some of these concepts, because debugger will give you data like this most of the times and you will thinking, oh, it's a very large number, essentially it's a negative number now, correct? So we will have to understand this in a good detail now. So let's move on and then try to see, if you don't understand this concept, how we are getting penalized. Okay, so let me repeat. If you know this, it's good. We understand the ways to remember. Okay, so we need to know this. But if you don't know, what would happen is what we are going to see, right? Basically, I will come back to this slide a little bit later. I'll just cover this. So you can see I have written a formula for a long data type, which is 4 plus 4, totally 8 bytes on a 32-bit environment, and 64 also we call it as a 8 byte. Okay, so 8 into 8 is 64 bits. So when you talk about 64 bits in size, so we can easily see on the negative direction it is minus 2 to the power n minus 1, 63, and the positive direction it is 2 to the power n minus 1 and then minus 1, right? So this is the value. This is as far as the signed numbers are concerned. However, when you talk about another value, right, basically, which is 64, so it is straight away 2 to the power 64 minus 1. Now I think there's a typing mistake. This is not a correct answer. Okay, this is a mistake in the presentation, so you can ignore this value because this is going to be a fairly large value. Okay, this value is primarily for a 32-bit number. I will talk about float and double in a short while. Let's move on to understand the pitfalls. Okay, let's move on and understand how much we know. So I'm going to take 2 small tests, code snippets. Let's see if we can answer this question. What will be the output of the following C code? So what you see in this example is we have a C equal to A, C1 equal to A, C2 equals to B. So these are characters with the symbols A and B. You do an addition of these A, B, right? So some of you might know ASCII value of A and ASCII value of B, because when you store a character internally in the memory, the ASCII value gets stored. So this is a small letter A, so the ASCII value is 97 and this is 98. Okay, so 97 and 98, and then the ASCII value of a character C is 99. So it's in a sequential order, 97, 98, 99. We do a summation, store the result in a character C and compare. So what will be the value? Will it be true or a false in the output? Think for 2 minutes, pause this video, resume the video. What's the answer? Is it true or false? So the answer is false. Some of you got it right with the correct logic. I'm sure you understood why the answer is like that, but some of you who have not still understood it right, you have to go back into my presentation, read it more, listen to this video carefully, and then somehow you will get it. I'm also going to do a demo of this code. Okay, let's move on to the next one. So what will be the output of the following C code? So here also I have an integer value of x, and I'm saying 4 into 1024. Why 1024? It is easy to remember. It's a 1 kilobyte. Okay, so we are doing x equal to 4 kilobyte, and then we are multiplying with a higher value and another higher value. Okay, so we have essentially 4 kilobyte into kilobyte into kilobyte, around 4 gigabyte of value, exact value getting stored in x. So we are storing it in x, and we are trying to see whether these values are true or false. So again, you can pause for a minute and then resume. Whether it is true, whether it is false is what we are looking at. So the answer is going to be obviously false. I will also do a lab demo for this to see what the real printf is. And in the demo, I am going to just explain you the answer, why the answer is what we got. Okay. So let's go into the lab demo. In this lab, I am going to show you the min-max problem for the character data type first. So here we can see that we are doing an assignment of the value a and b into variables c1 and c2, and then we are doing an addition of that and storing the result in c. Since a plus b has a much higher value than c, the general expected outcome is true. But when we run this code, you will see a totally different outcome. So let me compile this code now, and then I am going to run this code. So what you are seeing as the output of false. Let's try to understand a little bit about why the answer is false, why not it is true. Right? So let's go into the Scratchpad in terms of the editor. So now I'm going to write explanation. What's the ASCII value of a? We are storing a into C1. What's the ASCII value of a? It is 97. Right. What's the ASCII value of b? So the ASCII value of b is basically a 98. So when you do a summation and then we store the value 97 plus 98, that is same as 195. Right. So what you are essentially seeing here is a value 195, which is supposed to get stored in C. So we are storing a value C with 195, right? So you can see that that should be the value which should get stored in C, and that is getting stored in C. Okay. Now what the ASCII value of the symbol C? So C has an ASCII value of 99. So the question is, if we compare 195 with 99, what should be the natural answer? The natural outcome for this is basically true. Yeah, if this is greater than, yes, it is true. So what happened all of a sudden that we got answer as a false? We have to understand certain facts now. Okay. The choice of data type is very important. What is a C? C is basically a signed data type. It's a signed character. It's a signed data type. I repeat, it's a signed data type. Okay. Now, can we store a value of 195 in C? That's the question. Yes, we have stored it as per our calculation. That's what we have. We have really stored it. But what's the maximum positive value that you can have on a signed character? So it is 127, as I showed in the Scratchpad, right? So that's 127. Any value other than 127, higher value other than 127 will be like a negative number. So in summary, this is a negative number. Okay, this will be stored as a negative number. Now this is no longer 195. This is a negative number. So the question is this negative number greater than 99? Obviously it is not greater than, it is false. I think that's the answer. So I hope you understood this part. Let's try to change it to prove our concept. So I'll create one more thing called unsigned character. Okay. So we say unsigned character. We call it as UC. Okay. Now I am doing the same thing. I will say unsigned character UC is same C1 plus C2. So we are storing this result in an unsigned character now. Okay. So I repeat, this was assigned. We saw the value. Now we'll change it to UC. So when you are changing it to UC, it's an unsigned character. Our hypothesis, our calculation says that it is 195. 195 should be stored in 1 because unsigned character has a range up to 255, right? So our hypothesis says that, or our calculation says that, yes, the UC is storing 195 because it's an unsigned number. Now, is this unsigned number greater than 99? That is the question, which is obviously the answer is true. So when we compile this time the answer should be true, right? So let's finalize it. So I'm compiling the code and then I'm running. So we are comparing for UC now, right? Unsigned char. So unsigned char is true. So I hope this allows you to understand, the pitfalls. Remember that when you code, you have to be wary of data type, the sign of that, and then what's the max and min values we should always have in our fingertips. Let's take another example about that integer value, right? So what was that integer value code? The integer value code was about, some amount of multiplication on the integer, right? So we have a 4 kilobyte. And then we have another multiplication 4 gigabyte and then multiplication of kilobyte megabyte. So essentially this calculation is 4 gigabyte. Is 4 gigabyte greater than 0? Yes, the answer is true most of the time in our common understanding, but we have a problem here. Okay, so let's compile this code. The problem is we are not getting true, we are getting false. Why? Let's try to explain that further in the code. Okay, so I'm going here down, and then you will see our explanation part, right? Okay, so quickly look into integer. What is the maximum permissible value that you can store in integer? Integer is a 32-bit entity. And then we are talking about integer. This is an integer which is a signed integer. So signed integer, we are only constrained with 31 bits of information, right? So integer is 32 bits. So now it is assigned. So 31 bits. When you look into 31 bits and think about our calculation in mathematical notation, so it is 2 to the power 31 minus 1 is the maximum possible value that you can store. Okay, that's the maximum you can store. We'll ignore minus 1 for the time being for our calculations. Okay, we'll just ignore it for the time being, and we'll try to see what is 2 to the power 31. This can be written as 2 into 2 to the power. So 2 into 2 to the power 30, right? So some of you might know that 2 into 2 to the power 30 is nothing but 2 to the power 10, and then 2 to the power 10, and then 2 to the power 10, right? When you further look at it, 2 to the power 10 is a kilobyte, this another kilobyte, this another kilobyte. So kilobyte, 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 right? So essentially what you will see is, you will see that it is nothing but 2 into kb, which is gigabyte, right? So we have 2 gigabyte is the maximum possible value, and then minus 1 once again. We have a minus 1 here, right? So is this value, so the moment we overshoot this value, now this value when you calculate is 4 gig, 4 into kilo, right? So 4 gig. So the moment we overshoot this value an integer, we are essentially entering into an overflow condition. We are going further forward, right? So most of this will be treated like a negative number in reality. Okay. Here the problem is very, very different actually. Okay. But yeah, just to highlight the fact that, we are going into a negative territory, right? Basically. So is this negative number greater than 0? Not true. So the question is it really a negative number? Because here it is lot of multiple, so-called magic is happening. So what we will do now is we'll print the value of x. Okay, x equals to percentage d. We'll print it, right? So I'm saying negative number, not a problem, because that's what the initial hypothesis is actually. Okay, any number beyond this on a positive direction becomes negative number. But we will see this code and then try to deduce more, because there is more in this code than anything else. Okay, so I've compiled it. We'll run this code. So the value is not negative, it is false, because this is a very special code in which you will see that the x is completely overflown and become a value 0. Okay, just to make things more interesting, because when I said 4 gig is such a number where it cannot be stored in a 32-bit entity, whether it is a signed or an unsigned number. Okay, we cannot store them. So 4 gig is a very special number. We cannot store on a 32-bit world, okay, at all. That's the reason it has overflown further into a value 0. Just to see the overflow on a negative direction, I am just changing it into 2. Watch out, this I have made as 2 now. Okay, so this is 2. So essentially we are just going for this number, we are just going one number higher than 2. Or if you want, we can even do a 3 also, not a problem. Okay, so it is 3 gig. Now 3 gig is an overflow condition on the direction of integer positive, but it can be stored in a 32-bit entity, not a problem. Okay, so this is 3 gig, so we will have a negative number now. It's not 0, x cannot be 0, right? Okay, So when we see this, compile this, you will see that yes, the value of x is some negative number because it has overflown on the other side beyond these values, right? Whatever you take it, right, the bottom line here is that the moment you know the min and max values, you have to understand that certain calculation either overflows the entire data type, like what we saw for the value 4 gig, or it overflows into another direction, becomes a negative number. Okay, in both the case, the answer is not going to be true, it is going to be false. Okay, yeah, so I think this is what I am referring to when I use the word pitfalls. Okay, so we do have pitfalls of not doing these values, and this live demo will help in some way or another actually. Okay, so let's go back into the class and then talk a little bit about another number, which is our floating point numbers. Okay, generally when you talk about floating point numbers are stored very differently in memory. They are not stored like integral values. So there are IEEE notations. There are notations in terms of exponent and mantissa. Okay, so when you talk about floating point numbers, whether it is a double or a float, right, the amount of storage used is way different. It's 32 versus 64. However, the numbers is in exponent 10 to the power minus 37 up to 10 to the power 37. A very high range of values are stored in a specific IEEE format. And the only difference that you see here is basically the digits of precision after the decimal dot. So it can store, float can store 6 digits, and then double can store 10 digits. If you want to learn a little bit more about the internal representations, I have not created any slide material. I have rarely used it in a real world situation. On a systems programming side, and especially on the kernel programming, we generally don't use float and double because they are very costly operations. Okay, and I have a lot on the kernel side. So here I don't have a slide presentations. You can always do a Google search if you need about the IEEE notation representations for these two data types. All right, so we'll move on to the next slide. Having covered about min-max values, how to calculate them, and the pitfalls of not knowing the minimum and maximum values in software development, let's look into efficient coding strategy for a professional software development. I have created a specific YouTube video. You can always search in YouTube SAN Foundry, how to code like a pro in C language, in which I am going to write a simple code to calculate min and max values of a data type, and then repeatedly improve it one after another so that it becomes a good professional quality code. You will see the video link in the description as well as in the suggestions for this particular video. I will see you in the next class. Thanks for watching the video. We have put important links in the description and the comment section below. If you really enjoyed our video, please press the like button below. We plan to release one video per week. So go ahead and subscribe to SAN Foundry by pressing the subscribe button below and turning on the notification bell.